Hi, everybody. Shannon Shine here with this week's episode of the Bring Me to Life podcast. I'm super excited to be interviewing Miss Veronica Parker. She's a Kundalini coach and the founder of Live Your Happy Now podcast. She explains a variety of useful breath work and mindful movements, which goes great with this week's theme in the Bring Me to Life challenge. You can find out more about the Bring Me to Life challenge on our Facebook or website, bringmetolife.com. But until then, you should stay tuned and listen to this entire podcast because she gives a little freebie of a meditation in the end. So stay tuned. Here we go. For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Welcome to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of that, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Hello, everybody. Shannon Shine here with the Bring Me to Life podcast. I'm super excited to be speaking this week with Miss Veronica. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Can you go ahead and share with our audience a little bit about what you do and where you're from?
Thank you, Shannon. I'm so excited about this opportunity to connect with your audience today. I'm originally from Argentina, and I currently live in New Jersey. And I'm a mom to 3 kids that constantly remind me what it's like to be present and connected in the midst of the craziness that is life. And I'm also a Kundalini Yoga teacher, meditation coach, and I help really empower people to connect with the creativity, with confidence, and with spirituality.
That's beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about what your project is called that you've built?
Project as in my podcast? Is that what you're talking about? Or
Well, you have a podcast and you also have the Sacred Healing Playground?
Yeah. So when I originally started my holistic healing business, I wanted to really shift the myth that we have sometimes in our mind that healing has to be really serious or it has to take a long time. Because in reality, it's something that can happen instantaneously, Healing, the definition that I love about healing is simply a revealing of the truth with a capital T, which comes directly from spirit. And I think that the lighter and more playful that we can be about it, the easiest, it becomes for us. So when I started my business about almost 10 years ago, official, with a name and LLC and everything else, I chose to call it the Sacred Healing Playground. And so that was the original name for the business. And since then, it shifted into Live Your Happy Now, which is also the name of my podcast, Veronica Parker, and, whatever comes through, it's all good. It doesn't really matter. It's just a label.
Beautiful. So you do host a weekly podcast now called Live Your Happy?
Live Your Happy Now. And it's bi-weekly.
Tell us a little bit more about that. How does that work, or who do you feature there?
So it was an idea that came, divinely guided, because I really had no idea how to do a podcast. And I just kept on hearing the message, like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I'm like, no, not me. No, not now. I have no idea what I'm doing. Excuse me. Until I finally, I surrender. And I said, all right, fine. If you, spirit, want me to do it, you got to send me the right people. You got to send me like the right guidance, all the support, everything I need to learn how to do it. So long story short, I launched Live Your Happy Now back in September of 2018. And the idea is to bring to the audience, to the listeners, a way of connecting with authenticity, with spirituality, with wellness, with health, with well-being, which is what I call happy, without having to wait until everything is perfect in your life or until you have all your ducks together. It's just doing it in the moment, doing it in the now. So once a week, I do a recording myself with, the message that I feel is appropriate for the audience for that day. And then the other time a week, I actually interview an expert in an area of life that would be of service, to the audience. So we've interviewed nutritionists and holistic healers and meditation teachers and relationship experts. And we already have almost 40 episodes. So it's very exciting.
That's beautiful. I've listened to a few of them. That's a really great listen. How can our audience also check out your podcast?
So you can go over to iTunes and just, search Live Your Happy Now. You can also find it on Stitcher. You can find it on iHeartMedia. Those are pretty much all the outlets for it.
Beautiful. So aside from just your podcast, you're also a Kundalini Yoga coach?
Yes, I'm a Kundalini Yoga teacher. Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to hear about Kundalini Yoga. This week for the Bring Me to Life Challenge, our discussion is movement and how we can move our body and just stay more active. And from my understanding, Kundalini is a great way to kind of integrate that into your life, especially if you're someone that's getting into the spiritual aspects and wants to find some sort of yoga practice or a way to express themselves in that way. Can you explain to us what Kundalini Yoga is and what makes it different from maybe other forms of yoga?
Sure, I would love that. So Kundalini Yoga is the yoga of awareness, the yoga of experience. It's a type of yoga that was brought to the US by a master called Yogi Bhajan in the late 60s, early 70s. And in a typical Kundalini Yoga class, what you would experience is beginning the class with a mantra that we do to tune in as a form of connection, and then another mantra for protection. And then we get right into breathing. We are really heavy breathers. Really try different ways of exercising the breath, otherwise known as pranayama, as a way to shift not only our physiology and the chemistry of our brain, but also as a way to connect, our body with spirit. And then we move into the actual physical aspect of the practice, and we call it a kriya. And there's so many different kriyas in Kundalini Yoga. And every kriya, which basically consists of a succession of different poses, gives you a specific result. So we have kriyas to strengthen the immune system or the nervous system, or to become more focused, aware, and alert, or other ones for the endocrine system. There is, literally thousands of kriyas. Mm-hmm. And, we really work with the endocrine system a lot, with the nervous system a lot, really allowing your body to work with the pituitary gland, with the pineal gland, release the hormones that are going to help you feel good. And then we finish the class with a shavasana, which is when you're laying down and receiving all the benefits. And then we do a short meditation. And again, every meditation has a different purpose. You get a different result. So, by the time you're done with a Kundalini Yoga class, you feel like you're you're high, really, you're high naturally,
It's got you in that high vibe energy from the practice. That's awesome.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
What maybe got you into Kundalini Yoga, teaching it and just using it as your own practice?
The way that I got into it is I was following one of the very well-known Kundalini Yoga artists. Her name is Sanattam Kaur, and she sings the most beautiful mantras. Her music is so angelic. She really shifts your vibe just by listening or chanting the mantras. And it wasn't until, 2 years later when I went to one of her workshops that I realized there was a whole yoga component to it too. And that's when it really dawned on me, if I'm ever going to learn how to teach any kind of yoga, this is my dream. This is what I really want to learn, because it felt like it was such a complete system with the chanting, the mantras, the meditation, the breathing. and the actual asana movement too.
Beautiful. So you explained that kind of how you got into it. So using the practice now and getting into it, what does movement mean to you in your spiritual practice?
That's a great question. I think quite often in our spiritual practice, we tend to really focus on spirit within and our connection to divinity. And sometimes we forget that our body is like the vehicle that we chose for this incarnation. So movement is a way of really honoring the body, honoring your temple, honoring the vehicle that you chose to be able to allow spirit within to express itself through you. So I feel that movement is really important to help you ground that spirit in the present, in the now, in your body. And I think, yoga is just a magnificent way of strengthening the body, also getting more flexibility, because when we gain more flexibility in the body, we also become more flexible in our mind. We don't get stuck in limiting patterns and limiting beliefs in very constricted ways of perceiving the world around us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. It takes time and focus to kind of get into that movement pattern and to do different forms of breath work and things so that you can, I call it defragging. You release the files in your brain that no longer serve you so that you can focus on what you need to grow. So I really love that explanation there. So for someone who's just getting into Kundalini Yoga or just yoga in general, what is maybe a tip or suggestion that you may have for someone like looking to explore that if they don't know where to begin?
There are great resources. I mean, if you go to Dr. Google online, you can pretty much find places near you that would probably teach it. It is one of the fastest growing forms of yoga, so it's really expanding all over the world, not just in the US. But if you don't have access to someone locally that teaches it, there are many different channels online. You can go to YouTube and you can Google Kundalini Yoga, and you can actually see different teachers that have videos, and you can just follow along, But even just playing like mantras when you're working in your house or when you're doing laundry or when you're driving to work, it's just a great way of connecting to an elevated consciousness that allows you, again, to move beyond like old patterns and limitations.
It's beautiful. So you mentioned connecting with people and stuff like that online. You also do creative coaching and energy sessions. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I basically, in addition to being trained in Kundalini Yoga and meditation, I've done several trainings in energy healing, including Reiki, integrated energy therapy, theta healing, and matrix energetics. So they're basically all tools that I use during a coaching or healing session. I have clients that come in person, and I have many clients all over the world. So we do our sessions via Zoom or Skype. So through a session, basically, you just bring to the table whatever is, something that you are wanting to shift. What do you want to empower? What do you want to transform? What are you looking at manifesting in your life and you're having difficulty doing that? And so through the session, I bring all my bag of tools, use my intuition, and really help guide you to a new paradigm, a new place where you're going to feel that you're really accessing your full potential and living your dreams in your reality.
Beautiful. I love all of that. So we've talked about movement. We've talked about different kinds of coaching. And you also do meditation programs and guided meditations?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I do that too, because a lot of people have a hard time meditating or getting started, and sometimes the easiest way to do it is to do it with a guide, someone that can actually guide you through the process in the beginning until you find a place where you can quiet your mind a little bit more and become more still and calm and peaceful.
That's awesome. someone's having trouble kind of calming their mind, and they've tried to listen to guided meditations, they're listening to the kriyas, they still just can't release that. Is there any other advice you have for someone, or does someone really have to clear their mind completely to get the effects of this this energy that they're trying to bring in?
No, you don't have to clear your mind completely. In fact, I think that's one of the biggest myths about meditation, is that if you're meditating and you're good at meditating, you should have no thoughts in your mind. That's BS. It's not, you're always going to have thoughts. It's just that the more you practice, the more you do it, you're going to notice more space between your thoughts and more stillness and more silence in between them, right? My advice would be to always come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. When you slow down your breath and you become like quiet and still, you slow down the movement, you slow down the crazy activity that might be going on in your life, you give your mind a chance to slow down as well. If you want, I can actually show you. This is like one of my favorite and easiest breathing exercises. Is it okay to show it and explain right now? Okay,
that would be awesome.
So I know that some people will be watching and some people are just listening, so I'll actually describe it for you as well. This form of breathing is a great way to activate the left hemisphere in the brain, which is your feminine side. It's your receiving side. It's the side that allows you to become calm, receptive and peaceful. So what you want to do is sit down in a comfortable position where your spine is fully erect, and you'll be gently closing your eyes and then bringing your right thumb to your right nostril. And you're going to be closing your right nostril with your right thumb. And then you're simply going to take a deep breath in through the left nostril. Let's do it together now. And then exhale through the left nostril again. Inhale deeply again. Exhale fully. And continue doing this a couple more times at your own pace. Inhaling through your left nostril. And then exhaling through your left nostril. And if you have thoughts coming into your mind, just focus on the breathing pattern that you're doing. Inhaling through the left nostril. Fully exhaling. Giving yourself permission to let go. To feel safe. And to receive whatever you need at this time. Long, deep inhale. Full exhale. And as you exhale, let go of all the tension, all the stress, all the worry, all the doubt, all the fear you might have experienced prior to this breathing exercise. Just become fully present and connected with your breath right now. Let's do it one last time. Long, deep inhale through the left. And then exhale fully. And then let go of your right thumb. And now take a deep breath in through both nostrils. Hold the breath in. Exhale the breath. And just relax. Gently open up your eyes. Become fully present and aware right here and now. How did you enjoy it, Shannon?
That was really amazing and just was calming and brought me very much into the moment. Recording, can always give you some anxiety. So it was just nice to be on that end of it in the here and now. So that's awesome. I hope that others that are listening have really benefited from that as well. And we would love to hear about your experience with that as well. So if you're listening, leave us a comment and share how that made you feel. Because for me, it was great.
Yeah, you could tell it's such an easy way of breathing. It helps you become peaceful and calm. I love doing this right before I go to bed because it really helps me clear all the craziness of my day and just become centered and focused and ready for a good night's sleep. Excuse me.
That's perfect. And I believe you said it before, but for those who may have missed it, you said that by breathing in the left nostril, it helps the brain in a certain way, correct? Mm-hmm. Versus the right nostril. So
right.
So if somebody did it with the right nostril, does it affect another form of focus?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you needed more energy and you needed to become like, energized and focused, like maybe like a cup of coffee, you would actually close your left nostril and then inhale and exhale through the right nostril. It's much more activating for your energy instead of being like calming you down.
All right. So breathe through the left for calming, breathe through the right for energy.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Good to know. I'm gonna use those tips to take into the future there. So great. So that now that we're all calm and energized at the same time, what else? Was there anything else that you can feel so called to share with our audience today? You've shared a lot of beautiful information on Kundalini and energizing ourselves and breathing. Anything else that you do that you would like to give a shout out to?
I'm being guided to share another really quick way of breathing, because we talked about movement, and we talked about movement of the body, but also when we are connected to the breath and we consciously allow that breath to move through the body, it can have amazing effects, not only in the biochemistry and the physiology of the body, but in your sense of connection to divinity within. And so another really amazing breath that we use in Kundalini Yoga a lot, it's called breath of fire. And this form of breathing is very adaptogenic because it will basically give you whatever you need in the moment. So it can energize you when you need to feel energized, and it can help you become calm when you need to become calm. The only caveat to this is if you're a woman and you have your moon cycle during the first 3 days, you don't want to do breath of fire. And same thing if you're pregnant, you just want to do long, deep breathing instead of breath of fire. But other than that, if you have a couple minutes, I can just guide you and the audience to this form of breathing if you like.
Yeah, I would love for you to explain it. I've been familiar with breath of fire a little bit, and I've used it in my personal workshops, but I think that it'd be great for the audience to know more about that.
Absolutely. So also breath of fire is such a great tool that you can use during the winter months when there's a lot of bugs around and, people are getting sick, they're getting colds, they're getting stomach bugs, they're getting the flu, excuse me, because the fire is really activating the fire inside of you. So it helps you burn all the stuff that's not supposed to be growing inside of you too. And so to do it, one of the ways, it is a breath that is basically an equal inhale and exhale through the nose while you're pumping your navel, which is about 2 inches below your belly button. But one of the ways that I like to do, because in the beginning it's a little bit hard to kind of like coordinate everything, is to actually have you pretend that you're a dog. So in the beginning, you should simply open up your mouth and you stick your tongue out. And then you just literally like breathe in and out of the mouth, like panting like a dog, like this. And as you're panting through your mouth, you're going to be pumping the navel, moving in and out. So awesome. So once you get that down, you're going to close your mouth and you're going to do the same breath, equal inhale and exhale through the nose while you're pumping the navel. So it looks like this.
So you kind of go from dog to dragon. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Fire breathing through the nose. And you might want to have a tissue or so around to clear whatever comes out of your nose. Excuse me.
It's important to release all of that junk.
Yeah, totally. You don't want it inside of you. If it's there, you definitely want it to be out, But you do that. If you try that for like 3 minutes a day, I'm telling you, it will totally change like how you're feeling, what's going on in your mind, and even the level of energy that you experience inside of you. It's very powerful.
I agree. I've used the breath of fire, again, a few times in my workshops. I like to incorporate it with like the ego eradicator, which is kind of like this. You put your fingers in your palms. That's like the one major Kundalini yoga thing I know. And you stick your arms straight up and you find a good song and you just try to like hold it out, because that strength in your arms, that part of the movement is just, it's a really powerful thing. And your arms might get tired, but the pushing through with the breath of fire has really done so much for me personally. That's like what got me into the whole researching Kundalini more. So I love that you brought that up intuitively. It's one of my favorites.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very powerful. And once you get the hang of it, it's not that difficult to do.
Awesome. So we talked about breath work. You might not be able to show us because I know you're seating, but is there a favorite Kundalini pose or exercise that you have, maybe outside of what you've already shared?
One of the easiest ones that you can do, because a lot of what we do in Kundalini is it's really increase the flexibility of the spine, because Kundalini energy is the energy that stays dormant in the bottom of your spine. So everything we do in a Kundalini yoga class, whether it's breathing, meditation, or the actual asanas, is to allow that energy to get activated and to move up your spine so that it's no longer in the lower half of your body, but it actually comes up through and into your head, really. And in the process of moving that energy up, you're actually feeling elevated and you're no longer worried about the typical things that worry you or make you afraid in your daily life. It's like you gain this new energy, this Shakti energy, which is usually represented as a serpent, and you just feel like completely different, So I am sitting, so you're not well, actually, I'll show you one form of it. So one of the ways that we warm up the spine is by doing cat and cow, but you can actually also do that in a seated position. So if you spend a lot of time, working at a desk and you're sitting, if you're driving and you're sitting, if you're like flying a lot and you're sitting, you can actually literally like do it any of those times by just taking like 3 minutes to do it. So you want to scooch forward so that your back is not pressed against the chair. And then while you have your feet on the ground, and ideally you don't want to have shoes or socks, but if you're in an environment that you have to have them, so be it, you have them, right? And then you press your palms on your knees or your lap, and then you begin to do a movement where you're inhaling and moving your chest and heart forward, and then you're exhaling and you're flexing your spine. This is a spinal flex. So inhale forward, exhale back. Make sure that the movement is coming from the spine, so your shoulders, your head, and your neck are staying pretty stationary. So you come forward and you're opening up your heart, you let the heart lead, and then you come back and you flex. Inhale forward, exhale back. Make sure that you have a strong and powerful breath and that you allow the breath to be the catalyst that's creating the movement, not the other way around. So your breath is what energizes you. The breath is what allows your body to move beyond its limitations, beyond its restrictions, so that you can become more flexible. You can become just so much more open and strong.
So again, it's forward, breathe in, and backward, lean out?
Yes.
Breathe
so
out.
As you move forward, you inhale, and exhale as you move back.
Okay.
Make sense? And you should
I
stay
think
for as long as you want. And you're going to feel a difference in your spine and how the juices are moving in your body.
beautiful. So again, you said that it's best to have your shoes and your socks off, but that seems like it'd be a good practice if you are somebody, again, that's sitting all day at an office or something like that, and you just need a few moments. I kind of feel like I intuitively did that when I used to work at a call center, because you're at a desk all day, you don't get to move. You need something to incorporate that movement into your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I really love the simplicity. And now to do that, if without sitting, you can do that like kind of on all fours too, correct? You do the same motion, but you put your hands down on the ground.
Right. And that's like your typical cat and cow. So you have your hands facing forward, your feet back, and it's like your spine becomes like a tabletop. That's a neutral position. And then as you look up to the sky, you inhale. And then as you bring your chin to your chest, you exhale. And the spine moves in the same sort of like undulating wave.
Beautiful. I love the versatility of being able to do it sitting, or if you're in a full-on practice, you want to get that breath in. That's a really good one to share. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And really just doing 3 minutes of that a day will completely shift the way your body feels. And in the process, your mind will change as well.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all of those beautiful breath work and movement techniques with us. I hope that anyone listening or watching takes a few moments to practice those as well. Again, share with us your experience. We would love to know how this has affected you, or if you've decided to incorporate any sort of Kundalini Yoga or breath work into your movement practice. That's what the Bring Me to Life Challenge is all about. If you are just tuning in and you want to know more about that, you can check out the Bring Me to Life Challenge with the hashtag. And each week, I mentioned it to Veronica earlier, each week we're doing a different theme. So this week is movement. Next week, we're talking about sort of being comfortable with our outer appearance and things like that. So getting that inner work and that breath work usually makes us feel really good about everything in general and life in general, so that our outer appearance doesn't necessarily bother us and we become more of this glowing. I believe, Veronica, on your website you use glittering, right? Is that your
Glitterfying. Mm-hmm.
Glitterfying? I love that. Glitterfying is a beautiful way to put it. You're just shiny and bright. I always say it's shine time, or it's time to bring out your shine. So I love glitterfying too. It's a different way of wording it. I love how all of the light workers, they have this way of just wanting to bring the best shiny selves of others out. So that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
How can our audience find more about you in general? Let's tell them how they can find you on the interwebs.
Sure. You can come on over to my website. It's veronicaparker44.com. I have a freebie for your listeners, and that is a guided meditation that I created to help you connect with more confidence and trust, so that you can let go of fear, worry, and self-doubt. And for that, you also come to veronicaparker44.com/trust. You can also find me on Facebook at Veronica Parker _44. And same thing on Instagram. I have that, and also Live Your Happy Now. And as I mentioned earlier, you can listen to my podcast, Live Your Happy Now, on iTunes, Stitcher, and all media outlets as well.
And you said your podcast is bi-weekly?
Yes, twice a week. I publish on Mondays and Thursdays.
Beautiful. Well, I hope that our audience goes and checks that out too. I don't think anyone can ever have enough conscious content. They can just listen to it and get rid of any of the negative content that is bringing them down. So I'm super excited to give the audience more places to go. So
awesome.
All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot today. I'm really excited for everyone to check into Kundalini. And again, is there anything else at all you're feeling guided to share? Do you feel confident with your message for the day?
I feel good. I have one more little piece of advice that I want to share. Sometimes we get so overwhelmed with all the different possibilities and ways that we can connect with our spirituality or our practice. So I would just invite you to pick one thing that you love. If you want to give Kundalini Yoga a try, maybe pick a breathing exercise or a mantra, or even what I just showed you, how to actually move your spine. And start your day with that spiritual practice. If you already have a spiritual practice, add it to it. If you don't have one, just give yourself 5 minutes in the morning before you do everything that you normally do in your life, and start your day with devotion, with connection, with a way of connecting with yourself and spirit within. And I'm telling you, it's going to totally change your life, but you have to commit with it. You have to say yes to yourself. You have to plan it in advance, and then do it for 40 days. Every day. If you skip a day, you have to start back at 0. But 40 days, you will completely change the old habits that you no longer like about yourself, and open up a brand new way of seeing yourself and your life.
That is beautiful. I love how in alignment with the message of this week that all was. It was just to take that 5 minutes. It's so important. So thank you again so much, Veronica. I'm so glad to have had you here, and I look forward to continue to watch you and your channel grow. It's been a beautiful experience already. And for our audience, until next time, I hope you stay awake and shine on always.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks for shining on with us.